All right, let's do it. I had this plan all along to do a post games vlog, and I honestly thought I would have had it done by now, but I didn't. I just haven't sort of found the right words or the right time, the right feeling to essentially convey how I feel about this year. And I'm not sure that I can do that right and that I can do that really well. Yeah, so I'm just going to go into it and just answer the questions and try and keep it simple and not overthink it too much, and try and obviously communicate my most authentic experience and plan forward. Okay, let me first off say, start by saying that this is very much my own personal experience, and obviously this is going to come from, it's going to be my opinion based off what went down for me, what my years look like, what I liked and what I didn't like, and that's a really personal thing, and that's going to be really different for all of the athletes. And in no way does anything that I say, or do I want anything that I say to come across as though it's taking away or meaning anything for any other athlete. I think that, especially the number one, so Matt and Tia, who took the first place in this first part of the online CrossFit Games and who are going into the final stage, I think they are incredibly well deserving, and they have proven it time and time again that they can withstand whatever's thrown at them and they can do it, and I didn't do that. And this is just, I guess, a little bit of a reflection of why, what's on me, what I think could have been done better in the way of the competition, or just in my life in general. So yeah, I just want to make sure that I clear that up before I even get into anything, because this is YouTube, this is social media, and it's really easy for things to get a little bit lost in translation, and people are always looking for something negative that's maybe not there. So it's a big risk in doing stuff like this, but anyway, let's do it.
No, what are you waiting for? Do it! Just do it!
My overall feeling of the 2020 CrossFit Games, first word is disappointed. I think if I weren't a good athlete and if I hadn't been doing this for a really long time, then I would be worried if I wasn't disappointed with, placing 8th. I think it's pretty awesome. The women's field was super competitive in that I think it was like 9 points or something crazy, like a really small margin in moving my way from that 8th place to that top 5 qualifying spot, which the year or the season after having a baby, having time out, which is a massive season, it's not just, you have a baby and then you do a bit of rehab and you go again. Like, you're pregnant for a really long time, for almost a year, then you have the baby, then you have all the sleep deprivation, then you have all of that kind of stuff, before essentially you even get to start the rehab. And then once you start all of that kind of stuff, you have a newborn to look after, a full dependent.
I want an apology.
Hold on a moment, what's this? Tyler, you do not put your foot up at your mother's face. That's naughty behaviour. Naughty.
So placing 8th in that environment, given a super weird year, a stretched out season, what was essentially an even longer season for me. I had to start rebuilding. I had my daughter in May, and then, you start rebuilding like a little while after that, and then essentially you spend all that time. Normally we would have a break, like an off season, but I had to rebuild and then go into competitions and try and get myself to there. And then by the time we got to the games in September, at the end of September, honestly, I was absolutely cooked. It stretched me as much as it did the season, and I definitely felt that going in. I felt that a couple of weeks before I went in, and I reached out to the people that I knew could help me out. So I actually went to Matt from ATP Science and said, hey, can you help me out? How can I stack my supplements? What can I do the best? I was in this position where I wasn't clearing my metabolic waste. I was really toxic, really inflamed and fluidy, really lethargic, sore when I shouldn't be sore, not recovering, those type of things that are just the perfect indication that I was just a bit cooked. And this has all happened to me before. And a lot of people, when you get that sort of adrenal fatigue, and starts to throw your hormones a little bit out of whack. So he helped me out a lot. I sorted that out before the competition to a degree. I definitely went in feeling a lot better than I was, but not 100%. Like, okay, not sick or anything like that, but just not like peaking. Not peaking health-wise and performance-wise. I just wasn't like at my absolute best. And I think that's just like a part of the stretch season, to be honest. And you know, having to change things around a few times, having to deload and pick back up when the season changed, and my body maybe just not coping with it the way that it normally would, just because of the workload or just the life load that I have outside of training, being my daughter and my business and my home and all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, I wasn't my best there. So my overall feeling was definitely a little bit disappointed, but then the smart side of me knows why. But look, I'm a competitive athlete, so I don't really settle for 8th. I don't like that for myself. I've never not qualified. So as crappy as that felt for a minute, I don't dwell on it very long. As crappy as that felt, it's one of the best things that could ever happen for me because it gives me a fire back.
I'm excited.
It's not very often that I'm really disappointed because I work so hard. And when I am, I don't know, I just kind of thrive on it because I just don't like to feel like that. So I usually really shake things up a little bit and make sure that that doesn't happen again, which is really exciting for 2021. What did I do well? You know what? I've picked myself apart and there's just not a lot that I'm like, hey, you did that really, really well. And again, that's just like a competitor. That's just the competitor in me. But I did well considering I wasn't feeling great. I was able to bring myself back to a calm level when I went into it really not calm. I was like feeling really, really anxious. I had really bad anxiety that I think was just a result of the hormonal shift that I experienced. And I had to control that to go into the next events because the first event I was like really, really anxious and not feeling great. So I did that really well, and that just comes from experience. I was really proud. Probably the highlight was my PB front squat. It might not be the heaviest front squat in the world, but I had only just recently hit 280 pounds. My PR being around 285 in pounds, or like 130 kilos for Aussies who are watching. And I hit the equivalent of like 133 kilos, so like a 3 kilogram PB, which I haven't hit in a really long time. And then after having Scotty, front squats were like one of the worst movements. I've been training in my backyard on an uneven surface, just struggling through. So to hit that and to hit it really well was just such a great feeling, such a highlight, especially because it is quite a vulnerable movement after having a baby to build back with your pelvic floor and all of those kind of things. So that was probably the highlight of what I think I did really well. I messed up. The one thing that pops into my mind first thing was the row. I rode fast. It was a solid row time. I finished the row. I wasn't maxed out. I was hoping that because it was a good road time, and I knew that that was a time that like Briggsy had hit once before and she was a really, really great rower, I thought it was going to be okay, and it was not okay. And that cost me because I wasn't maxed out. Whereas in a lot of the other events, I really did kind of hit my maximum, and I did get to a point where that was all I had to offer for the moment, given how I was feeling mentally, physically, and all of those kind of things. But that row, I left something in the tank. It's a terrible feeling. It stays with you. I didn't empty out, and that will stay with me, and that'll be the reason that I didn't qualify. But I do truly believe that I wasn't meant to qualify this year, and that's going to bring really good things. I do feel a huge sense of relief in that I don't have to worry about carting my family, especially my daughter, over to the US in the current situation that the world is going through. I don't have to make that decision. I don't have to stress about it, and for that reason I think that that's really, really important, and that's how it's meant to play out. And I think for how that moves me forward in life into 2021 and into a new season, it's exactly how it should be. It's a little coffee break. I put this as a question. Put it down as, what are my excuses? Every athlete has excuses. I spoke a little bit about like the the metabolic waste issue and the adrenal fatigue and everything that I hit beforehand. That's probably my biggest one. That's the thing that I would lean on and say, like, look, this was a factor. This was a factor that I just couldn't control. And it just is what it is. I didn't take care of myself as well as I should have to prevent that from happening, but I also didn't really have the opportunity to take care of myself any better because my daughter takes priority, my business takes priority. There's a lot of things that I have to try and balance at the same time as training really hard, and I just don't always have the opportunity to do those things. So that's probably my main one. Right now, so what am I doing right now? Right now, post games, I am focusing on repair. And just recovering, making sure that my whole system has the ability to fully recover and reset. I want to be super mobile, so I'm just hitting ROM WODs. I want to make sure that I don't have this adrenal fatigue issue going into any further work that I'm doing. So I'm supplementing, I'm doing all of those kind of things to just wind down, ice baths, saunas, doing all of that kind of stuff just to make sure that I feel as good as possible before I start any kind of proper training again. Training for me right now looks like I might sit on the bike for 10 minutes and just flush out just for movement. It's pure movement, no training. I've been doing like some really cool yoga handstand, like just inversion stuff that I've just wanted to do for ages and I find really fun.
Let's get in touch with our mind and body, everyone. This week we're slowing things down with yoga. My first tip is that it's really important to remember your breathing. I believe the words she said under those censorship bleeps were, "Truth, that bloody hurt. Why am I doing this? Who even am I? I smell like Tiger Balm and I need an ice pack."
And then just some deep core stuff that I haven't really done since postpartum recovery, with like that deep pelvic floor and core kind of stuff, which I felt like I could revisit. And I lost a bit of connection with that while I was training really hard for the game, so I'm doing that. And I'm going to do that for a little while, and then I'll talk to Nick, my coach at Brute Strength. He's just like, I'll talk to you in a couple of weeks. When I'm ready, I'll reach out and say, hey, what's the plan? Let's do it. Once I'm a little bit more clear-headed. What does the off season look like? My off season, I'm filling it with really good opportunities and family time. Obviously, I'm going to rebuild, but I'm going to pick up where I left off and try and build up again on what I've worked really hard for in the last season. But I also have some really cool opportunities. I've got some really cool filming events and opportunities, and some stuff that I'm doing with sponsors, like product development stuff, and I'm just like sinking my teeth into my business active eyewear and literally just trying to learn how this whole business thing works. All this stuff, I don't have a marketing background, I don't have any financial background, I have no clue what I'm doing. I have business partners that are really, really great in their field, and then with the other stuff, I'm literally just watching and learning and trying to soak up as much as I possibly can and just like try and make as few mistakes as possible and just grow this brand into something really, really cool. So I haven't been able to do that because my brain is not great when I'm training, and my commitments were just a lot. So that's what I'm going to do in this off season. I'm really, really excited. And then hopefully we're back doing sanctioned events and doing some stuff that's in person again real soon in 2021. But I'll fill the end of the year with just really cool stuff and family time and chill and work and stuff that's going to help set me up for a long term. How am I going to be better in 2021? Well, that was something that I asked myself, and I'm going to take better care of myself. I'm actually doing something really fun, which is working more on cycling my workload and my recovery, my downtime with my female cycle essentially. So throughout the month and based off how my hormones peak and fall at certain times. I'm going to play around with that for a little while and try and see if I can actually manage burnout and all of those kind of things and be really like take advantage of really peak productive times, and have things to look forward to by, I'm going to work really hard here and I'm going to come down here and I'm going to see if I can really maximize my training that way as well, and just taking better care, booking in more treatment, a little bit more time just for Maddie and I, and a few of those things. And I think getting a little bit more balance in that aspect and filling up my cup a little bit more will allow me to pour a little better. Okay, the biggest question, what was it like competing in the format that we did in general and then with Scotty? I didn't love the format. I definitely do better out on a competition floor, because I just don't feel anything, and you've got the competitors, you've got the opportunity to chase and fight and do all of those kind of things. And this was a little bit more stressful because we had to organize everything, like from our equipment. We had to weigh all of our equipment, we had to, you know, set up all the space, and there was a lot of stress that I had to carry in the competition, whereas normally we just rock up and we just do it. And I had an amazing team, don't get me wrong. I had like things like AlphaFit here literally made me a GHD to the specifications that we needed to have it made for the competition, and delivered it the day before. So little things like that, I'm super lucky to have. And then I had my manager Brenton and Maddie and all my team at Active and my business partner in the gym, Adrian. Like, we had all of us there managing it, but it was still really hard. And then having Scotty there, like, was just a full juggling act. She's a toddler, she's wild, she runs around. There's no real opportunity to like slow down and recover. Like, she's climbing on you straight away, and I wouldn't have that any other way, because I truly do believe that she needs to see what I'm doing, and it needs to be really normal for her to see, you know, the work and all of that side of things, as well as all the fun stuff and the play stuff and all the things that we do. So I try and involve her in every aspect of everything we do, from making food to training to reading books to working, playing, whatever it is. She's just involved in whatever we do in some capacity. So I wouldn't change it. Not the easiest way to compete by any means, definitely not the most productive. Probably I deserve some extra points for it. I'm just kidding, but legit, it's really hard. But still really awesome that I get to turn around. She was there, and like my mum was there as well, so she came down, she was able to take her away and play with her, or take her back to the room and put her down for a sleep, or yeah, just things like that. So that was a huge help that I couldn't have done it without. But yeah, it's totally different, you know. And then obviously we didn't get to travel for the games. So usually when I go away to the US, and I'm out of sight. So everything, all my workload and all of that kind of stuff in Brisbane, it just kind of like gets put on pause, which a lot of people close to me definitely did. But I think people would often forget that I was in comp mode, that I was in a build up, and that I really needed time to recover, or to not, you know, be messaging about work late at night or whatever it is. Turn the light back on. So yeah, that kind of stuff was really tricky. I didn't really ever feel like I got like a wind down or anything like that going into the competition. It was kind of just like do my normal day, do my normal life, and then just rock up and try and like be one of the best in the world. So it felt really weird. I think it would have felt like that for a lot of people too. But yeah, that's just the way it is. I definitely think there were some things that could have been done a little bit better in the way of the how the CrossFit Games put it together. But I'm also really appreciative of the fact that we got to utilize the fitness that we'd worked really hard for all year, and it didn't get wasted. You know, we can go in, we have the opportunity to get some prize money, because for a lot of us this is our job, and we also have the opportunity yeah, to just use our fitness instead of, you know, training, like for me, training for months in my backyard.
There you go.
And then having it go nowhere. So I'm super grateful for that. But yeah, in the way of like placings and things like that, it's never going to be as consistent, that not as uniform from one competitor to another. That's always going to leave a little bit of variance in the scoring. And I think without a few of those things might have been a little bit different. And that you always see that in the open. We see that in the open every year, and then all of a sudden we get onto the comp floor and everything's like totally different, because people don't have their comforts and they don't have like all their little sneaky things that they can do. Yeah, so I think that's always going to be an issue with an online format, unless you do it like the Rogue Invitational did, which was, I think I've said it before, but it was absolutely impeccable, and they made it so consistent and so fair, from everything from who wrote the programming to how it was executed. Everyone had the same equipment, just everything was so fair. It felt like a really, really fair, even competition. You know, we all had no music, we all did whatever. And aside from me having to do it in the middle of the night, it was, you know, which was still huge. the way that the workouts played out and everything was like really equal. So for that, I was super grateful. And to me, the highlight of my season was that Rogue Invitational, a little bit over the games, I think. This didn't really float the games, but I've had a really great year. I qualified for the games at 4.5 months postpartum, which was amazing. I placed in 12th in the world. I then went on to do a sanction event in, I think it was March, and I won that. Scotty was 10 months old. And then I did the Rogue Invitational when she was like 1, she just turned 1, and I came 3rd in that. And then I've gone through to the games now in a super crazy long season. I've been trying to like peak and be amazing, be better each and every time. So it's been an amazing season. That's my wrap. Yeah, hoping that Maddie can cut this and I'm not talking for quite as long, but thanks for watching. It's been amazing sharing the journey and the lead up to the CrossFit Games with you guys this year. Totally different. Hopefully the content that I'm sharing with you moving forward is a lot more exciting, and you know, we're getting to travel and do all of those crazy things. That is just a huge fun part of what we do. But yeah, thank you for watching, for liking, for all of the amazing comments, especially from all the mum squad out there that have my back. It's so awesome. If you haven't already, I would really appreciate it if you would like this video and subscribe to my channel, and you will see me again soon. Catch you later. Bye.